What if I told you the things you're desperately working towards, whether it's that job promotion, a better body, more money, recognition, or even just being more popular or liked, isn't what you're actually searching for? See, I've been on a journey on figuring this thing out pretty much my whole life, and I'm going to save you a decade of your time and plenty of money, heartbreak, and stress along the way by sharing some of the biggest and most challenging learnings of my life. The first is, we all fall into the I'll be happy when trap. See, I thought becoming wealthy and moving up the corporate ladder would make me happy in life. After purchasing a big house, multiple cars, hell, even a boat, which is a terrible decision, I was miserable. And I quickly moved on to the next thing. I was always chasing more. It's kind of like if you've ever planned a vacation for months and it's pretty much all you think about in your spare time, and the moment you step onto that balcony and take in the view, you think, we should come back next year, but let's get a bigger room. See, that's your brain already wanting more. And it is never ever enough. I've learned that happiness is not external through things or stuff. You can't purchase or achieve it, happiness. It must come from within by understanding what truly makes you happy. Now that can be a little challenging, but here's what I do and here's what I recommend is try writing down everything that makes you happy. But here's the kicker. On a 1-inch by 1-inch piece of paper. You've already figured out you can't write very much on there, and only a few things should fit. So you should be selective. Once you figure out what truly makes you happy in life, that's the things you go all in on. That's the secret to being happy. Focus on a few things that truly brings you joy. I learned about the role of self-love and acceptance. Now, I'm not usually a big fan of those terms, so hear me out. I realized I wasn't stupid. I just learned differently. See, I have 2 learning disabilities that I found out later in life. I felt stupid because teachers often said to me, Brian doesn't apply himself. I heard them joking that he's not very bright. And when your counselor recommends you should probably go a GED and you're in the 8th grade, go that route, you know that you're not meant for school, or at least not in the traditional sense. See, things like reading makes no sense to me. I love to read. I have a hard time processing what I just read. Things in school like lectures were like listening to Greek when I only knew English. None of it made sense to me. And it hurt. And I became incredibly self-conscious along the way because I felt stupid. But it also created a drive to prove everyone wrong. Every teacher, every kid that teased me. It created almost an unhealthy need to prove that I wasn't dumb. But later in life, I learned I do have learning disabilities and that I absorb knowledge differently than other people, or in the traditional sense that school teaches. I learn best by talking things through and asking questions, which makes hands-on environment like work really ideal for me. Today, I'm more understanding of my own insecurities and others. We all have them. You have them. I embrace the way I learn now, and I'm not ashamed to ask questions or explain that I process information differently. Today, I proudly watch movies with subtitles because it helps me process what I hear. I'll even listen to audiobooks while reading along because having 2 forms of communication makes it make more sense to me. Life is about facing self-acceptance head on rather than just trying to prove people wrong. It's a battle that you're not going to win because no one else cares. It's you that's doing it to yourself. It's about finding your superpower. And we all have one. And you definitely do too. But it shouldn't be an insecurity. It should be something you're proud of, you embrace, and you will be happier in the process. I learned about perspective of aging and really the different stages in life and where I want to be. After working in retail for over 20 years, which I can't believe that, I saw many older employees struggling along the way to keep up with the demands of the job. The drive to work nights and weekends, you could see were taking a toll on many of those people. They hadn't planned for retirement. They lived above their means and they were stuck. Some of these people seem miserable and were viewed negatively by leadership too. Not because of their age, I want to be clear, but because they weren't happy and it showed. Now, on the flip side, I will tell you some of the best employees I've ever encountered in my 20-something years, and I was kind of a senior leader, were older people. So it's not about age or age discrimination, but they worked different. See, those older people worked that were happy because they wanted to and not because they had to. What it taught me is that I don't want to stay beyond my prime just to maintain a specific income. I want to be like those older employees someday who genuinely just enjoy work. A year ago, I took a 75% pay cut to pursue a role and company that made me happy. Because money and things weren't making me happy. And I will tell you, after doing that, work today is a lot more enjoyable when you don't need the money. So ask yourself, is what you're doing today what you want to be doing in 30 years or 40 years? And if the answer is no, then start today. 10 years ago, I created this plan where I was going to live debt-free and all that. Start today. Don't wait. And don't be stuck in a job you don't want to be doing or a career you don't want to be doing in 20 or 30 years, because that's the definition of unhappiness. Along the way, I learned true freedom and confidence go hand in hand. True freedom to me came when I took that pay cut, not when I got a major raise. And I focused on doing work that made me happy. I spent over 10 years saving and investing and living off half my income. It was difficult to live more frugally than my peers, but now that I'm free, I do what I want when I want. I used to constantly feel behind when others were having bigger homes and upgrading and nicer cars. But once I stopped buying those things and trying to keep up, all of my perception on life changed. Now that I see someone getting a new car or upgrade, constantly bigger house, I actually kind of feel sorry for them, because I know that they're stuck in long-term loans, searching for fulfillment through material things that those things will never provide. It goes back to what I was saying about vacations. It's just never enough. True confidence is accepting what makes you happy without worrying about what others think of you. Some of the wealthiest, and I mean true wealthiest people you will ever encounter live the most modestly. Because honestly, they don't care about you and external validation. Feeling like you're owning your life instead of banks owning you or that dumb car owning you. That is one of the greatest feelings you will ever have in your life, when you are true and free. But it takes a lot of confidence to get there in saying, I have enough. The one thing we can't buy in life is time. However, not constantly upgrading the things that really don't bring us joy in life gives you a lot more time to do the things that you want to do in life. I learned to stay healthy, but for a different reason. See, in my 20s, I let myself go. I gained weight. I often eating out, places like Cheesecake Factory all the time, indulging in ice cream. I ate like a toddler. That's how my 4-year-old daughter eats today. That's how I was eating in my 20s. I was in a low depressive state all the time. I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I dedicated 2 years to getting in shape, and then, like that, I was diagnosed with cancer twice. And in 2014, doctors gave me 60 days to live if the chemo didn't take. I had a tumor the size of my face between my lungs. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't swallow, and I was dying. This is always tough. Now, despite the odds, I continue to show up even during chemo to the gym every day. Even if I could only sit there and not lift, that's what I did. I showed up every day. I refused to also let the cancer beat me. What was interesting is other patients couldn't handle a fraction of the chemo that I was taking. I was going 5 days a week for months. And some of the cancer patients there would go once a week for a couple hours. And for me, it was a 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. Many of those other patients that were there, their bodies just weren't responding to the chemo, even though it was less doses. And the doctors credited my fitness for saving my life. Now I work on my health, not to look good in a bathing suit, but because you never know what life throws at you. You train and exercise for the battles you don't see coming. No one in my family had cancer, and you can't predict the future. Just know life is full of curveballs that all of us will have to face. Today, I exercise and pretty much eat right every single day because I'm trying to look good in a bathing suit, but I'm doing it for the people I love. My goal is to hopefully dance with my daughter at her wedding one day. I want you to be happy and healthy too, and I want you to never miss out on a moment in life. That's why you stay healthy. I learned about fear of judgment and failure. This is probably one of my more recent ones that I've learned, but I've faced a lot of struggles in my life. Hopefully you guys see that by now. And one fear I had was starting a YouTube channel. I was worried about what others think, how they would perceive me, make fun of me, whatever. And it really took me over a year to build up the courage to finally hit record. And once I did, I learned one important lesson. No one cares. See, people are too focused on their own lives to give a damn about you. Now, Being successful can be extremely frustrating. I've poured my heart into some of these videos and vulnerability, and they don't perform well. And you get crappy comments from people, and I often think about quitting. In fact, I had to take a few months off just because I was unclear on what I was doing, and I forgot the purpose on why I started this. But I realized it's about showing up every day, even when I feel like giving up. You will get comments all the time critiquing something I've either said, bringing bag lunch to work when everyone else goes out, whatever. But one thing I've learned around criticism is the people that are giving it are usually the ones that lack courage to do anything themselves. Remember this. People that have put themselves out there and tried something and have possibly failed repeatedly are not the ones trying to bring you down. It's the people behind you in the race that are losing that are trying to hold you back. And people are often hurting inside, and they're trying to bring other people down with them. The joy is in the journey, not just reaching the destination. And it's about setting little milestones along the way. So after taking a few months off, I set the simple goal for myself to reach 10,000 subscribers. And every little like and subscribe on this video helps. So I guess in some weird way, I just gave a shameless plug to sign up. Help me hit that goal. For a long time, I chased validation and material possessions, thinking that would make me whole, that would make me happy inside. Now I understand that true happiness comes from love. Love for people, love of moments, love of experiences. A couple years back, a friend once was considering divorce and was asking my opinion. And I asked them, after hearing everything, who would be the person next to your side if you were terminally ill? They immediately said their spouse. Because that's love. Love is what truly matters. And once you realize this, everything else becomes insignificant. Life is about identifying what you love and spending as much time as possible with those people and experiences. Challenges are inevitable. I've been married 20 years and I'd be a damn liar if I said every minute was easy. It's really hard work, but it builds strength and resilience. The meaning of life is quite simple to me now. It's about capturing and collecting positive memories while removing what doesn't bring you joy and being in complete control of your own life. Be kind to yourself. You are doing the best. You're learning and you're growing every day. And it's important to embrace the journey. No one has this life figured out, and you won't either. But it's about growing every day and learning from these little moments in your life that become meaningful and collecting it along the way. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you on the next video.